Good morning, all of you. Hope all of you are fit and fine and safe at your home. This video is third part of my video lecture of third chapter, that is metals and non-metals. If you recall my previously taught video, in that video we covered up to chemical properties of non-metals, characteristic of covalent compound, and the several steps involved in the extraction process of metal. Along with that, we also discussed the different types of concentration of ores. Now, in this video, we will discuss remaining part or remaining steps of metallurgical operation. Before starting that, let's just see what are the content. So, in the starting of the video, we will discuss about the extraction method of metals and its steps. Second one is corrosion and alloys. Third one is summary of chapter with the help of flowchart. And the last one is some important NCERT question. See, before starting all the step, let's just see the reactivity series. As we all know that all the metals are categorized into three categories: highly reactive metals, mild reactive metals, and least reactive metal. If you actually see this reactivity series, you will understand that what are the elements which they come in a category of highly reactive metals, and what are the metals which comes in a category of mild reactive metals, and who are they which comes in a category of least reactive metal. So let's just start. See, and which method is most appropriate and helpful in the extraction of those metal which present in a highly reactive category, which present in a mild reactive category, and which present in the least reactive category. That we all know that being highly reactive in nature, metal exists in our surrounding in two forms, either in a free state or in a combined state. Most of the metals are present in the combined state in form of sulfide ore, in form of oxide ore, in form of carbonate ore, and etc. And least reactive metals are freely present in our environment. So metals like potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, they are present in our environment in combined form, means their ores are present in our surrounding, which is known as minerals, and from that minerals only we used to extract these metals through electrolysis process. Why electrolysis process is equipped? Because they are highly reactive in nature. That's why electrolysis method is used in the extraction of those metal from their ores. Now, mild reactive elements are zinc, iron, tin, and lead. They are extracted from their ores with the help of reduction process. In reduction process, we use carbon as a reducing agent and some other elements also. And after that, copper and mercury come in a category of least reactive or mild reactive, and they undergo in the extraction process with the help of direct heating or the self-reduction method. And last is the least reactive or non-reactive metals, that is silver and gold. They not needed any type of extraction method. Let's just understand the whole steps involved in the extraction process of metals through a flow chart. Let's just see. See, here all the steps are written. As we all know that in the extraction process of metal, basically 3 steps are involved, but we used to write 4 steps. One step is the optional step. It's not compulsory that all the metallic ores are present in their sulfide form or carbonate form. When it is not present in the sulfide form and carbonate form, then the conversion step we not used to perform. But when the metallic ores are present in sulfide form or carbonate form, then we used to perform the conversion step. So on the basis of that, we can say that in the extraction process of metal from their ores, basically 4 steps are involved. So what they are, that we already know that metal are categorized in 3 states: highly reactive metals, mild reactive metals, and least reactive metals. So here it is written metal of high reactivity, metal of medium reactivity, metal of low reactivity. Metal of high reactivity means those metals are who is highly reactive, like potassium, sodium, calcium. They always undergo in electrolysis process. Means that we used to extract those metal from metallic ores with the help of electrolysis process, and then we are able to get a pure metal. Similarly, metals of medium reactivity, mostly metals which are present in medium reactivity, they always present in their either in sulfide form or in their carbonate form. Then in that step, what we have to do, we have to perform the conversion process. So for carbonate ore, we used to do calcination process, and for sulfide ore, we used to do roasting process. After that, the conversion is done, means the carbonate ore or sulfide ore get converted into form of oxide of metal, and then the reduction process takes place with the help of other element like carbon, aluminum, and etc. And at last, refining method is done. Now let's just see how the least reactive metals undergo in a extraction process. Mostly least reactive metals are present in the sulfide form of ore. Then it undergo in a conversion process with the help of roasting. After that roasting process, the metallic ores get converted into form of metal oxides. And then again the metal oxide undergo in the self-heating process or self-reduction process, and by this we get a pure form of a metal. In order to make sure that the obtained pure form metal is fully pure, we perform the refining process, and that's how the overall extraction process of all type of elements done. Basically we can say that ores are extracted on the basis of the reactivity of metals. Metals are categorized on the basis of high reactivity, medium reactivity, and low reactivity. Always the high reactive metals undergo through electrolysis process, and then we are able to get a purified form of metal. And metals which are present in medium reactivity, mostly they are present in our environment in two form, that is carbonate form or sulfide form. So the extraction become bit difficult. So we perform the conversion process with the help of calcination and roasting. To convert the carbonate ore of metal, we used to perform calcination process, and in order to convert sulfide ore of metals in oxide ore, we used to perform roasting process, and then it just get converted into form of oxide ores, and reduction process will be done, and at last refining is done, and we are able to get a purified form of metal. Similarly, metals with low reactivity, mostly they are present in sulfide form of ore. Then conversion is done with the help of roasting. After that, it just get converted into metal oxide, and that oxide undergo in the reduction method, and then the refining is done, and that's how the overall extraction process of different element can be done. As that we already discussed that sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, they always undergo through a electrolysis process. Means in order to extract these metal from their ores, we perform electrolysis process. And the metal like iron, zinc, lead, we used to perform the reduction method, and elements like copper, we used to perform the self-reduction method, and the least reactive metals, no extraction method is required. So basically, let's just see how actually the process are involved in the extraction process of highly reactive metals with the help of some example. Let's just see. as we know that metals are divided into three categories, that is highly reactive metal, least reactive metal and mild reactive metal. See, the upper part of reactivity series acquired by the highly reactive metals. The mid part of the reactivity series are acquired by the mild reactive metal, and below the hydrogen it is acquired by the least reactive metals in reactivity series. So, on the basis of the reactivity series, metals are categorized and different methods are used in the extraction of metals on the basis of their reactivity. So here the first category is extraction of less reactive metals of reactivity series. As we all know that less reactive metals are mostly present in their sulfide form of ore, and that also we know that the extraction method become bit difficult in case of sulfide ore or carbonate ore. So in order to extract pure form of a metal, what we used to do, firstly we perform the conversion method with the help of roasting process. In this process we used to heat or we used to convert sulfide ore into oxide ore in presence of sufficient amount of oxygen. By heating sulfide ore in presence of oxygen, it just get converted into oxide ore, and then again that sulfide ore again preheated, or we can say that just get heated at a higher temperature, and we are able to get a purified form of metal. And then again that metal undergo in refining process and we are able to get molten form of pure metal. So let's just understand through definition and through activity with the help of example. See, metals which are low reactive in reactivity series can be reduced to the metal by heating in the presence of oxygen. That we already discussed. That process is known as roasting process. Now, taking an example, mercury is obtained from its ore that called as cinnabar. For board exam point of view, it is very important. Mostly or oftenly in board exam also and in home exam also, it is asked that write down the different ore of mercury, write down the different ores of iron. Likewise, this you will get questions. So, by heating in the presence of oxygen, when it is heated in the presence of oxygen, it first converted into form of mercuric oxide, which is HgO, and on further heating it is reduced into mercury. Let's just understand with reaction. Here HGS treated or heated in presence of sufficient amount of oxygen, and by doing so it just get converted into mercuric oxide along with release of oxygen gas. Similarly, this mercuric oxide again heated at a higher temperature, and by doing so we will get mercury along with oxygen gas. This is known as direct heating of metallic oxide. Mostly least reactive metals undergo in reduction process with the help of heat only. By direct heating only we are able to get purified form of metals. Now let's just understand with this process only through another example. Here another example is there. Copper is obtained from its sulfide ore whose formula is Cu2S. By heating in the presence of oxygen we will get cuprous oxide along with sulfur dye gas. Again this formed form of cuprous oxide react with the remaining part of cuprous sulfide and we are able to get copper and sulfur dioxide gas. What is self-reduction method? Just try to understand this. Basically, at the time of conversion of sulfide ore into oxide ore, all the sulfide ore is not get converted into form of oxide ore. Suppose 99% of copper sulfide is present, okay, and it just get converted into form of 98% cupric oxide. So 1% of copper sulfide left. That 1% again react with the 98% of cuprous oxide and this is called as a self-reduction method, and we are able to get purified form of copper along with the sulfur dioxide gas. Now we will see extraction of metal which belongs to mid of the reactivity series. As we know that metals which belongs to the mid of the reactivity series, they are mostly present in form of sulfide ore or carbonate ore, and in order to get purified form of metal, we used to convert them into their oxide form through the process of calcination or through the process of roasting. So let's just see what exactly it is. See, metal in the mid of the reactivity series like zinc, iron, lead are found as a oxide, sulfide or carbonate ore. That already I told you. After that also we know that it is easier to obtain metals from their oxide ore than their sulfide ore or carbonate ore. So non-oxide ores are converted into oxide ore form before reduction, means before going into a reduction process with the help of other element, they first get converted into form of their oxide ore from sulfide ore or from carbonate ore. So non-oxide ore can be converted into oxide form by roasting process or calcination process. Now see what is roasting process. Basically, roasting process is a conversion of sulfide ore into oxide ore in presence of sufficient amount of oxygen. Means when we used to heat sulfide ore of metals in presence of oxygen, then it get converted into form of oxide ore of metal. See here, zinc sulfide treated with oxygen in presence of heat, then we are able to get zinc oxide along with sulfur dioxide gas. That process is known as a roasting process. Now the next method is calcination process. Calcination process is mostly used to convert carbonate ore of metal into oxide ore. In that, we used to heat carbonate ore of metal in absence of oxygen. It's just like a decomposition reaction. So let's just see here, calamine is there. Calamine is a carbonate ore of zinc, whose formula is ZnCO3. It is heated and get converted into form of zinc oxide and carbon dioxide gas. This is how the conversion process can be done. That we know that mostly the metals which belongs to the mid of the reactivity series, they are present in their sulfide form or the carbonate form. So firstly we used to convert them into their oxide form. Now the oxide ore is then reduced to the metal by heating with a reducing agent. See, once we get a oxide form of metals which belongs to mid of the reactivity series, then we treat them with another element which help in the reduction of that oxide ore. The most common reducing agent is coke, which is a carbon. So zinc oxide treated with carbon, and by doing so we are able to get purified form of zinc along with carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is also known as a best reducing agent who help in the reduction of oxide ore of metal into their purified form of metal along with the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. That's how metals are extracted. Now we will see what is thermite reaction. Thermite reaction is basically one special type of a reaction which is mostly used in welding process. See, there are many other reducing agent except than carbon. That we know that metals which belong to mid of the reactivity series, they undergo in reduction process with the help of carbon, but it's not necessary that all the time carbon is used as a reducing agent. Some other elements are also there which we use as a reducing agent in order to get purified form or purest form of metal from their oxide ore. Now let's just see. Sometimes the reactive metals like sodium, calcium, aluminum, etc. are used as a reducing agent that we already discussed to obtain metal from their oxide ore. Let's just understand with one example. Manganese oxide treated with aluminum, and in order to that we get purest form of manganese along with aluminum oxide, which is also called as alumina, along with heat. Because of the liberation of heat, this reaction is a exothermic reaction, and that type of reaction is known as a thermite reaction. See, the reaction between metal oxide and aluminum is highly exothermic, and the metal obtained in molten state. Such reaction is called thermite reaction. Now it is clear that what is thermite reaction. In order to get molten and purest form of metal, when we treat aluminum with metal oxide, then that type of reaction is known as a thermite reaction. Board exam point of view, this reaction is most important. This year also one question is based on thermite reaction only. Now let's just understand with other most common example of thermite reaction, which is mostly used in welding process of iron cracks or in order to join the railway tracks. See, when ferric oxide is treated with aluminum metal in order to get iron form along with aluminum oxide and the liberation of heat, so that reaction is also known as aluminothermite reaction. Basically, the reaction between iron oxide and aluminum produce molten iron, and this reaction is used to join the tracks, broken machines part, and etc. So this reaction is most important for board exam point of view. That is, when iron oxide treated with aluminum metal in order to get molten form of iron along with the liberation of heat and aluminum oxide. That's how the thermite reaction work, and that is the thermite reaction. Let's just understand with one figure. By the figure you will understand that how actually that thermite reaction is used to join the railway track. Basically, the ferric oxide is treated with aluminum metal, and because of that the molten form of iron we got. We used to fill the iron cracks and different machinery part, and that's how the welding is done. Now let's just see how actually the electrolysis process is done from highly reactive metals. Look at here. Now we will discuss extraction of metal from their ores of highly reactive metals. Highly reactive metals are that much reactive that they never exist in free form. They always present in combined form. So if we do the normal extraction process also for these kind of metal, then also again immediately they just get combined with the atmospheric gases and form a compound. So in order to avoid this, we use electrolysis process. So the third category is extraction of metal at the top of the reactivity series. Generally, potassium, sodium, calcium, aluminum, they are considered to be highly reactive metals, and they always present in a compound or combined form. So what exactly they are, let's just see. Metals at the top of the reactivity series like potassium, sodium, calcium, aluminum, etc. cannot be obtained from their ore by simple heating or by heating with the reducing agent. They are always obtained by electrolytic reduction of their molten chlorides form or molten carbonate form. Now let's just understand with one example. Here, when electric current is passed through molten sodium chloride, if you see in this figure, one beaker is there. In that beaker, sodium chloride is taken and 2 electrodes are kept in this beaker, which is attached with the battery. one electrode is cathode with negative terminal and one electrode is anode with positive terminal. So what will actually happen? Sodium metal is deposited at cathode and chlorine gas is deposited at anode. How actually it works? Let's just see. In beaker, what we used to take? We used to take sodium chloride aqueous solution. After that, we put two electrodes which is attached with the battery of positive terminal and negative terminal. Negative terminal electrode is known as a cathode and positive terminal electrode is known as a anode, in which cathodic and anodic reaction will take place. See, in order to reduce the melting point of sodium chloride, we used to add calcium chloride or calcium fluoride to reduce the melting point of sodium chloride. So after that, when we pass the electricity, what happened? That sodium metal get dissociated in form of sodium ion and chloride ion. See, cathode is attached with the negative terminal, so the positive ion start moving towards the cathode, which is sodium metal, and get deposited on the cathode. And being negative in nature, chloride ion start moving on the side of anode, where the reaction takes place and it just get converted into form of chlorine gas. See, cathodic reaction will take place like this, that one electron is get attached with sodium ion and it just get converted into form of sodium ion. Similarly, from chloride ion, two electrons are added and it just get converted into form of chlorine gas. This question is oftenly asked, that which gases get liberated at the time of electrolytic reduction of sodium chloride at anode. So that gas is chlorine gas. Now let's just see. Up to now we discuss the three steps of extraction of metal, that is concentration of ores. Second one is the conversion one, which is done with the help of roasting and calcination. Third one is the electrolytic reduction, which is most important for board exam point of view. Now at last we will do the refining process. How refining process is done? Several methods are used in refining process, but the most important process is electrolytic refining method. Why it is important? Because this year also one question is asked based on the electrolytic refining method of copper, means how we are able to extract copper metal, how we are able to refine copper metal with the help of electrolytic refining process. So what exactly it is? Let's just see. The removal of impurities from the metal to obtain the pure metal is called refining of metal. The most common method of refining of metal is electrolytic refining method. Several methods are there, like distillation, liquefaction, and others are also there, but most important and most precise form of refining method is electrolytic refining method. See, in this method, a block of impure metal is made the anode and a thin sheet of pure metal is made the cathode. What actually we do? We just take a beaker, in that we put two electrodes. That electrodes are attached with positive terminal and negative terminal. So in case of impure metal or which contain impurities, we attach with positive terminal and make it as a anode, and a very thin sheet of pure metal we took and attached with a negative terminal, which is regarded and which is introduced as a cathode, and in that beaker we took the salt solution of that particular metal, to which we obtain the purest form of metal. Now let's just see. After that, what will happen? That the electrolyte is acidify copper sulfate solution, means concentrated sulfuric acid is added in the beaker which contain a copper sulfate solution. When electric current is passed through the electrolyte, the pure copper from the anode is deposited at the cathode and the impurities settle down as a anode mud. Basically, when we pass the electricity, immediately the dissociation takes place and copper sulfate get dissociated in form of copper ion and sulfate ion. Being negative in nature, copper ion start moving towards the cathode and there it just get deposited in the purest form and the impurities get settled down at the bottom of the beaker, which is known as a anode mud. That is how, and this is the method by which we are able to get a purest form of copper with the help of electrolytic refining method. Till now, we discuss all the steps involved in the extraction process of metal from their ores, from their sulfide ore, from their oxide ore. Now, let's just see what exactly corrosion is. What is corrosion? That we all know. Corrosion is a damage caused to metal due to the reaction of metal with oxygen, moisture and carbon dioxide, that we already discussed in first chapter also, second chapter also, now in third chapter also it is there. Basically, corrosion is a slow destruction method of metal due to the presence of oxygen and moisture. For example, the formation of brown coating of rust over a iron. During a rainy season, we used to see a brown coating over the surface of iron metal. What it is? It is a rust whose formula is Fe2O3.2H2O. Is basically caused by the moisture. Now, the second one is the formation of green coating of basic copper carbonate over the copper utensils. That is the malachite ore. Malachite. At the time of discussion of the names of ore, that time I told you that malachite ore is get formed on the upper surface of any copper utensil due to corrosion. Now the third one is formation of black coating of silver sulfide over silver ornaments. So these are the examples of corrosion. Corrosion is the slow destruction of metal with the help of oxygen and moisture. Now, how rusting takes place, let's just see. To show that air and moisture are necessary for the rusting of iron, take 3 test tubes marked as 1, 2 and 3 and put iron nails in each of them. See, with the help of figure you will understand. Just take a 3 test tube. In all the 3 test tube, put iron nails. Put some anhydrous calcium chloride, that is CaCl2, in first test tube to absorb moisture. Pour some boiled distilled water in the second test tube and pour some oil over it to prevent air into the test tube. See, in first test tube you have to put anhydrous calcium chloride which absorb all the moisture. In second test tube, you have to put some distilled water along with some amount of oil which prevent the direct contact of air to the iron nail. Now, in the third test tube, you have to pour some amount of water in the test tube 3. Now, put cork over all the 3 test tubes. After that, leave them for a few days. The nails in the first test tube does not get rust because it had only air and no water. The nail in the second test tube does not rust because it had only water, no air. But the nails in the test tube third get rusted because it had air and water. This proves that iron only react with oxygen in order to form rust when moisture is present. If moisture is present and air is absent, then rusting will not take place. If air is present, moisture is not present, then also rusting will not take place. That's why in the third test tube rusting takes place, and in second test tube and first test tube rusting will not take place. Now let's just see prevention method of corrosion, how we used to prevent metals from corrosion. So the best method or prevention method of corrosion are applying oil or grease on the upper surface of metal, applying paint by galvanization process. What is galvanization process? Galvanization is a process by which we used to apply a metal oxide layer on the surface of other metal, mostly zinc oxide, ZnO. Now fourth one is by tining, coating with a tin, means we cover the upper surface of metal with the help of tin or with tin. Fifth one is by electroplating, coating a less reactive metal like chromium, means we used to cover highly reactive metal with the help of less reactive metal like chromium, which behave like a barrier and help as a barrier between the direct contact of air and moisture to a particular highly reactive metals. And the last one is by alloying. What is alloying? Let's just see. An alloy is a homogeneous mixture of metal with other metals or non-metal. It is a homogeneous of either two metals or either two non-metal. How? Let's just see. Steel is get formed by the combination of iron and carbon. Stainless steel is formed by the combination of iron, carbon, cobalt and nickel. Brass is formed copper and zinc. Bronze is a combination of copper and tin. Similarly, shoulder. See, this shoulder is used in welding process also. Lead and tin used for the welding electrical wires together. See, if one of the metal is alloy is mercury. In alloy, these are the alloys: steel, stainless steel, brass, bronze, solder. They all formed by the combination of two or more metals. If any one of the metal is mercury, then it is called as a amalgam, and this whole process is called as a alloying process. By this, our chapter is over. Let's just see the summary of our chapter with the help of flow chart. See, we studied in this chapter that element is divided into mostly two parts, that is metals and non-metals. Then we did discussion about the physical properties of metal as well as chemical properties of metal. Similarly, physical properties of non-metal and chemical properties of non-metal, like metals are malleable in nature, ductile in nature, good conductor of heat and electricity, and sonorous in nature, and generally solid in form except that bromine. These are the physical properties of metal. Similarly, chemical properties of metal, they are electropositive in nature, means they have tendency to lose electron and form positive charge. Whenever metal and water react, it form metal oxide along with hydrogen gas. Whenever metal react with air, it form metal oxide. Whenever metal react with acid, it gives us salt and hydrogen gas. Similarly, reactive metal have tendency to displace less reactive metal from their salt solution. So this is all about the physical properties of metals and non-metal. Now the physical properties of non-metal: it is non-malleable, non-ductile, poor conductor of heat and electricity except then graphite, because graphite is having a free electron in its structure, and can be solid, liquid or gaseous form. Mostly in our periodic table, total 22 non-metals are present, in which 10 are present in solid state, 11 are present in gaseous state, and 1 is present in liquid state. Chemical properties of non-metal: generally they are electronegative in nature, means they have tendency to attract or gain electron. They do not react with water. They form ionic compound whenever they react with metals. Whenever they react with non-metal, then they form covalent compound. Now the second part of the chapter is the extraction process of metal from their oxide. So what exactly it is? See, ores are get crushed and undergo in a process of concentration with the different method. Then the conversion process will done. After that, reduction process will done, and at last refining is done. And after the refining process, we are able to get a purest form of metal. By this, our overall third chapter get over. Now let's just discuss some important NCERT question which is most important for board exam point of view. The first question is, a metal X loses 2 electrons and a non-metal Y gains 1 electron. Show the electron dot structure of compound formed between them. Is ionic or covalent compound? Does it have high melting point or low? Will it conduct electricity in solid state or in aqueous solution, and why? Will it be soluble in water? C. A metal X which have tendency to lose 2 electrons, that might be belongs to the second group of periodic table, so it is magnesium. Now non-metal Y gain 1 electron, so it should be chlorine. So we should take 2 atoms of chlorine and form a compound MgCl2. In that, see, MgCl2 is formed by the transferring of electron of both the electrons of magnesium to the 2 different atoms of chlorine. So that already we discussed in this video how to form that electron dot structure of magnesium chloride. It is a ionic compound, so the aqueous solution of ionic compound is able to conduct the electricity. Now what is the second question? A student was given manganese, zinc, iron and copper metal. Identify which of them will not displace hydrogen from dilute hydrochloric. As we know that in reactivity series, copper is kept below the hydrogen. So copper metal is not able to displace hydrogen from hydrochloric acid, because we know that only highly reactive metals have tendency to displace less reactive metals from their salt solution. So copper will not displace. Will react only with steam to give hydrogen gas, that is zinc and iron. Zinc and iron only react with steam of water. It will not react with normal water or cold water or hot water. It only react with steam. Now will give hydrogen gas with 5% of HNO3, that is a manganese. Only magnesium and manganese are the 2 metals which react with the concentrated form of nitric acid in order to give hydrogen gas. Now the third question, compound X and aluminium are used to join railway tracks, that is a ferric oxide and aluminium. Identify the compound X, that is ferric oxide. Name the reaction, thermite reaction, and write down its reaction. We already saw in this video only. Now the fourth question, what are amphoteric oxide? Amphoteric oxides are those oxides which shows acidic properties also and basic properties also, depending upon the nature of the other reacting species. If the other reactant having nature of acid, then amphoteric oxide behave like a base. If the other reactant behave like a base, then amphoteric oxide behave like a acid. Now identify which one is the amphoteric oxide. Fifth question, name a reducing agent that may be used to obtain manganese from magnesium oxide. Aluminium. Aluminium is used as a reducing agent. Sometimes it's not possible to use carbon as a reducing agent, because carbon show much more reactivity towards that particular element. That's why we use some other reactive metal as a reducing agent. So for this question we use aluminium as a reducing agent. Now let's just see some other questions. See, a non-metal A is an important constituent of our blood and form 2 oxide B and C. Oxide B is toxic whereas C cause global warming. What they are? Identify A, B and C. See, read the question very carefully. A non-metal A is an important constituent of our food and form two oxide B and C. Oxide B is toxic where C cause global warming. To which group it belong? See, board exam point of view, this question is very important. Seventh question is, an element A react with water to form compound V, which is used in whitewashing. The compound B on heating form oxide, which on treatment with water gives back B. Identify A, B and C. This is a reaction which takes place with the help of calcium and it forms calcium oxide, calcium hydroxide. Eighth question is, a non-metal A, which is the largest constituent of air, when treated with nitrogen gives in 1:3 in the presence of catalyst iron give a gas B, ammonia gas. It is on heating with O2 it gives a oxide, nitrous oxide or nitrogen dioxide. If the oxide is passed into the water in the presence of air, it gives D, which act as a strong oxidizing agent, that is a nitric acid. Ninth question is, give the steps involved in the extraction of metal of low and medium reactivity from their respective sulfide ore, that we already discussed. Name the two metals which react violently with cold water. Write 3 observations you would make when such metal is dropped into the water, and how would you identify the gas evolved it, that is the sodium and potassium metal which violently react with cold water. And now by this your chapter is over. Thank you. Now all of you just remain happy, healthy and stay at your home.